Today, we're kicking off our season previews here with Tyrese Proctor, the 49th pick in the 2025 NBA draft. We're less than a month away from Cavs preseason starting, so I have a bunch of these solo videos ready to preview just about every player on the roster. And we also plan on doing a round of previews with the Junkyard Pod as well. So Cavs basketball, it's almost here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can all follow along together. And let's get this started by breaking down my format for these previews. We're going to start each one by recapping each player's recent history, bringing you up to speed with where they are in their career. Then we'll talk about some of their current strengths and weaknesses, and then we'll end each video by laying down some expectations for the upcoming season. So since we're starting off with a rookie in Tyrese Proctor, I'm going to start by just listing off the general scouting consensus for him coming out of college. So Proctor is a 6'5" guard who played 3 years at Duke. He averaged 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists on 40% three-point shooting in his third and final year. As you can tell from that stat line, 12 points, 2 assists. He's not really a point guard so much as he's a three-point shooting combo guard. Now, this kid can flat out shoot the ball. There are some concerns regarding his ability to handle the rock and break defenders one-on-one. But as far as shooting, we know that he's a talented three-point shooter. Only 2 assists per game is not awesome for a guard, but I wouldn't completely write him off as a playmaker because of that. He did show some creativity as a playmaker in college, albeit it was really just some flashes more than anything consistent. And at 21 years old, obviously, you would have hoped to see something a little more impressive in college given his age, but there are bits and pieces there of on-ball creation that you can watch for. I should also mention that defense is something that Proctor has been able to hang his hat on. Coming into the draft, he's seen as a solid on-ball defender with good size for a guard and a plus wingspan, so that's something else that you can keep an eye on. Now, bringing us to where we are now, as of the 2025 Summer League, I would say Proctor had a mostly underwhelming summer in terms of like about 75% of the time he was on the court. I felt that he was just kind of out there, not really doing anything too good or too bad. But then he had a few moments on either end, right, where there were bad moments where he got jammed up trying to bring the ball up the floor, and that wasn't pretty to watch. And on the other side, he had a game where he had like 40 points and he just nailed a bunch of difficult shots. So it was a little bit of a mixed bag there, where I feel like I didn't learn too much from his summer league, although you rarely learn that much from summer league to begin with. We definitely learned that he can shoot the ball, which we already knew, and we also found out that he's not great at dribbling the ball, which we kind of already knew. I will say he had some pretty impressive pull-ups from the mid-range in that game where he scored, I think, 38 or 39 points. So if you are someone who believes in his shot-making ability, then there's definitely a foundation there for Proctor to, at the very least, become a microwave scorer off the bench at some point in his career. And that would be a pretty good outcome for the 49th pick. Now let's project forward and talk about his upcoming rookie season. And since we're starting our previews off with a rookie, I'm going to focus more on long-term development in this video. It's something that I probably won't do for every preview we have, but considering Proctor, there's so much of his game that's unknown, I think it makes sense to think bigger picture here. So for his rookie season, I'm going to lay down the landscape and set a few goals for him. All right, one, let's be clear, let's be realistic. It's unlikely that Proctor's going to play consistent minutes or become a main part of the rotation unless a lot of people get injured. And that's not hating. If you look at the guard rotation ahead of him, it's pretty loaded, right? You have Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Lonzo Ball, Max Strus, Craig Porter, Sam Merrill, and if you want to count Jalen Tyson as a guard, then he's in front of him too. And so I think Proctor would be pretty happy with his rookie season if he was able to pass even just one of those guys in the rotation, let alone, 3 or 4 of them to see legit minutes on a nightly basis. That probably won't happen. And again, it's not hating. I'm not hating on him at all. I'm just being realistic with a late second round pick. If he proves me wrong and he becomes the backup point guard, then I would be happy, more power to him. But it's important to set realistic expectations here. And something that I wrote for Feel the Sword recently on this topic is that Proctor is actually in a pretty sweet spot for being the 49th pick, right? Because usually if you're the 49th pick, you already know you're not going to get big minutes, especially if you're a late pick on a championship contender like the Cavs should be. But all of the guards who are ahead of Proctor in the rotation can actually serve as pretty good examples for him on how he can approach his own development. So if you take a look at it, Max Strus might be the perfect blueprint for Proctor to follow in terms of being a guy who he has three-point shooting talent. He's 6'5". He might not be skilled enough to be the primary ball handler, but maybe he can do some of those secondary and tertiary playmaking things while also being a positive defender in the backcourt. those are all skills that Proctor and Strus have in common, and so the more he can learn from him, the better. If you want to lean more into the three-point shooting stuff, then you can look at someone like Sam Merrill as a mentor for Proctor to follow. If he ends up having more on-ball juice than we thought, then there's more that he can learn from Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. And obviously, I'm not saying that Proctor is going to be as good as any of those players or that he'll become a one-to-one direct copy from just watching them. We all understand it's not how it works, but I'm just saying he has some great mentors ahead of him in the rotation with comparable skills that he can work on. Even Lonzo Ball is someone who Proctor can learn from on the defensive end, right? Using that size and wingspan in the backcourt. And so what I will be watching for with Tyrese Proctor in his rookie season, the main skill I want to see show itself is going to be that three-point shooting, right? That's his biggest strength. If he can function off the ball and knock down three-pointers at a good rate, if he can get hot every once in a while and put up, 12 or 15 points off the bench, then that's going to be really good. And if he's able to flash any on-ball stuff on top of that, then it'd be amazing. But basically, if he can prove that he has the foundations of being an elite three-point shooter, even if it's just a small sample size as a rookie, that'll make me feel pretty good about Proctor's first season. Some of the things that I'm cautiously hoping to see would be some of that on-ball creation that I've mentioned, whether that's pull-up shooting or actually creating plays for others. Anything that he's able to do with the ball in his hands as an initiator would be a huge plus. Even if it's just him attacking a closeout, doing some of that secondary stuff, I'd be really excited to see that. But it's not something that I'm expecting consistently this early into his career. And then defensively, if he's able to show himself to be, a gritty point of attack ball hawk who can kind of frustrate his opponents and be a pest, then that would be amazing to see from a rookie. But again, it's more something that I'm cautiously optimistic about. I'm not expecting to see it full time. And then lastly, the two things that I'm most worried about during his rookie season is going to be his ball handling. Can he actually handle any ball pressure, or is he going to be picking up his dribble and going nowhere? I really wonder how he's going to hold up against NBA level competition. And then the second thing is, what is he going to look like getting to the rim? I don't think Proctor has the athletic pop or the strength to be a great rim finisher. He wasn't super impressive in college either. And so as a rookie, I'm assuming this is going to be something he struggles with. And I'd imagine it'll be one of the biggest weaknesses he'll have to overcome further into his career. And so putting all that together, I think the best path for Proctor and what I'll hope to see is that he just needs to put all of his XP points into being a Max Strus type of player, right? He might actually have a higher baseline, especially in terms of the three-point shooting, because Max, he's not really a guy who we count on to be a consistent 40% three-point shooter or anything like that. He's always been more erratic, but Proctor seems like he has more raw potential in that regard. If Proctor can essentially become a guy who shoots 40% from the three-point line and plays some really good defense in the backcourt while also handling the ball a little bit and doing some playmaking stuff, then that would be an incredible outcome for the 49th pick. It might be a few years away, but that's the long-term vision here. And that's all I have for my season preview of Tyrese Proctor. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Cavs previews, then please drop a like, leave me a comment with your expectations for Proctor, and of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Cavs.